California is home to some of the highest gas prices in the United States. Drivers in the Golden State typically pay well above the U.S. national average. Gas prices in the U.S. vary by region, with the West Coast seeing the highest prices on average.
Things are changing on a daily basis in a commodity that's consumed 380 million gallons of gasoline, roughly consumed on a daily basis. The stakes couldn't be higher.
We still have millions of drivers in California who depend on gas. Gas prices in California are usually among the most expensive in the country because of different factors.
High taxes are partly to blame for the high price of gas in the state. But there's more to the story.
Part of the reason why prices have been so high is that California has really restricted the ability for refineries to expand and grow. California has been rather hostile to refinery expansions or oil industry investments, trying to push them away and transition California to more electric vehicles.
This is not just California doing its California thing. Only way we're going to advance this transition is we've got to get big oil out of the way.
Why are gas prices so high in California? And how can drivers save at the pump? There are several factors that go into what drivers pay at the pump, including refining costs, distribution and marketing, taxes, and crude oil prices.
Gasoline prices tend to be much more expensive in California for many different reasons. California has its own standards for what type of gasoline must be used. It's the only state in the nation in which an Air Resources Board, that is the California Air Resources Board, supersedes the federal government, the EPA's requirements.
The state requires a special blend of gasoline that reduces pollution and costs more money.
California also has seen a drop of 66% in the amount of refineries in operation from where we were 40 years ago. So there are fewer refineries producing this special blend of gasoline.
California's 14 oil refineries process more than 1.4 million barrels of crude oil per day. 11 major refineries produce California's transportation gasoline and diesel. The isolated market means that any outages will lead to volatility in prices at the pump. In comparison, much of the refining capacity in the U.S. is located in the Gulf Coast region. Texas is home to more than 30 petroleum refineries, and Louisiana has 15.
California also has the nation's highest gasoline taxes. It has a cap and trade program that also assesses a cost for utilizing gasoline. And all of those costs and regulatory burdens push California's prices to the highest in the nation on a daily basis.
What proof do you have that oil refineries are indeed price gouging in California?
Well, $2.61 more than the national average last year. Inexplicable. They cannot explain it. They always go back, well, it's your gas tax, it's your environmental rulemaking, it's the cap and trade, low carbon fuel standards. Fine, we will grant that California has unique blends, all their talking points. Add it up, stack it up, about $1. What's the delta? Where does that come from? They say, well, it's lack of competition. Well, there you have it. What that means is lack of competition means we can take advantage of you. And that's exactly what they say. And that's exactly what they've been doing.
In 2023, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new law to combat alleged price gouging at the pump.
Well, there's a new sheriff in town in California where we brought big oil to their knees. And I'm proud of this state,
The law aims to increase transparency in the oil and gas industry and created an independent watchdog called the Division of Petroleum Market Oversight.
The effects of the law have not yet seemed to have a major impact. California has not spelled out what would be considered excess profit. Confusion comes from the fact that a lot of the situation that creates record profits is the restriction on refineries in California, which then can create this domino which rewards refineries. Again, if California was less restrictive, more refineries could get involved, produce gasoline, and that would restrict profits at all refineries. But because of those restrictions and because of the lack of transparency, California really hasn't decided a definition of what price gouging is or excess profit is. And so there hasn't really been much impact.
At the same time, California plans to ban the sale of new gas-powered cars by 2035 as it transitions to cleaner vehicles. 25% of new cars sold in California in 2023 were zero-emission vehicles.
People are now considering getting an EV, and part of it has to do with the fact that gas prices just keep going up every year.
Without a doubt, the high price of gasoline does encourage more EV adoption. Americans getting hit with $5 and $6 gallon prices in California is likely accelerating the shift away. Volatility in the price of gasoline certainly could continue as California transitions away from fossil fuels into EVs.
And it's not just California. The Biden administration hopes 50% of new vehicle sales in the U.S. will be electric by 2030. As part of the EV push, the 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law included $7.5 billion for a national EV charging network.
The Great American Road Trip is going to be fully electrified. Charging stations will be up and easy to find as gas stations are now.
Families are spending thousands of dollars on gasoline each year.
While consumers are powerless to fight against the vast differences stations may be charging, they can educate themselves on what is a price that's acceptable.
For drivers who aren't going electric, here are a few ways to save on gas.
We always tell drivers to aggressively shop around for the lowest prices. Tires and maintenance, keep your vehicle in top shape with routine inspections. Map your route before you go to minimize unnecessary turnarounds and backtracking. Avoiding rush hour, anticipating road conditions. Bad driving isn't just unsafe, it's also expensive. Studies have shown that personal driving habits are the single biggest factor that affects vehicle fuel consumption. Watch your speed, slow down and drive the speed limit. Higher speeds result in more aerodynamic drag, so reducing highway speeds by 5 to 10 miles per hour can increase fuel economy by as much as 14%.
Consumers armed with this information can save potentially hundreds of dollars per year, especially in California.